Hello and welcome to this Slack tutorial video hosted by Adam Pearce of Strawberry 7. In this video we're going to be having a look at some general settings in Slack and how to use Slack and the best practices. So upon opening Slack you will see that on the left hand side here are what are called channels. Channels are kind of like groups that you would get in WhatsApp or an area that you can send messages to. These groups have been pre-set up for you, and these groups relate to the different classes around the school. It's a very straightforward system to use. If you want to message a particular class, you simply click on the class and then send a message. So let's use an example here. Let's say we wanted to send a message to Ruby class. We would just click on Ruby class, and then we can type a message here, and that will go to Ruby class. That will go to the person that's in Ruby class. As we can see here, there's some examples of messages which I sent to Peter Shaw in Ruby class. So there were some interactions between Peter and I there. When you're messaging a particular class, you might want to include other people who aren't in that class, which is fine, or you might want to get the attention of one particular person in that class, for example if there's a job share role. So we can do that very easily. All that you need to do is when you go to type your message, you could say hi and then @ symbol and just start typing in a name of the person that you want to message directly. For example, we could type in KUL for Coldit, and that would then send that message targeted towards Coldip. So the message will still appear here in Ruby class, but it will be more targeted to Coldip, and Coldip would actually receive a notification to say that that message had arrived in Ruby class, and then Coldip would be able to go to Ruby class and see that message that was directed towards her. So that's an example of how we can use the @ symbol to notify specific people about a message. That also works for multiple notifications as well. So if you wanted to write a message and tag quite a few people into that message, that's absolutely fine. You can just keep using the @ symbol and including as many mentions, as Slack calls it, for that particular message, and each of those people receive a notification about that mention and be able to see the message there in the classes. There are settings for notifications as well for these particular classes, but that's in a separate notifications video which I've made. The link to that is in the description, so do check that out at the end of this video. As well as the classes here, we do have an area for emergencies as well. So emergencies would be specific problems that you want to send to the office, and you could click in there and type a message, and that would go directly to the office and they would see it as a specific emergency notification. General is a very, very open area where anybody can post, anybody can put a discussion topic. General is a very good example of an area where you would definitely want to use a mention in order to get somebody's attention specifically. So we would use the @ symbol as it's already inserted there, and we might want to say Peter to highlight Peter into this message, and we would maybe say to him thanks for the merit display, for example. So general is a very good area to just put some general feedback or some general mentions or some general information about the school. And you would definitely want to include some mentions in there to get people's attention, specifically if you're messaging a particular person. In addition to sending messages, we can also send documents, as Peter did here. So if we go back to Ruby class as an example of that, we can click the plus button, and then you will get a ability to upload or post various things from certain areas for Slack and to send to people. So you could just say add an available file from your computer, and just like any other platform, it would allow you to browse your computer and find a particular file wherever you had it located on your computer. So the type of files that you can put on here are pretty vast. I mean, you can put on documents, PDFs, videos, pictures, pretty much anything you can think of, really. All of the messages and documents that you're putting on are searchable as well. So if you want to go back and find something, you can use a search. Again, the search is very broad and pretty good at finding different things. It'll either find the name of the attachment or a particular part of a message that you've sent. So in addition to being able to send to channels and sort of the general area and things quite broadly, we can also direct message people as well. So direct messaging is, again, very straightforward to use. You can select one of the users that's already here, or click the plus button here to send to somebody who isn't in this list. You can just search for them. So let's say we wanted to send a message to Chris, for example, who doesn't appear in this list. It's pretty straightforward to do that. We just click the plus button, start typing in his name, and then he would appear. And we would just select him, click go, and then just type the message that we want to type. Now that message will send directly to him, and that will be in a private chat between the two of you. So, as I mentioned before, it's quite easy if you've used WhatsApp or iMessage or any kind of messaging platform these days, Facebook Messenger. It's quite easy to think of these in those terms. This is kind of like when you send an iMessage or WhatsApp to a specific person, and then the classes are more if you were sending it to a group chat. So, as I mentioned earlier, don't forget to check out the video on notifications, because that will give you some more information about notifications that you can select for different channels, and definitely the best practice for setting up notifications so that you don't get bombarded with messages or with notifications. As always, if you have any questions or any issues, or you would like assistance installing Slack on one of your mobile devices, you can always email support@strawberry7.com. Both the link to the notification video and the link to the email address are in the description section below this video. As always, thank you very much for watching.